Okay, ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents, it's been a minute. And what do I mean by that? For about a month, I've been dealing with fires, and then I've been dealing with the side effects of this several disorders. That this time it hit like a stone brick wall, and I do mean a brick wall that is 100 feet deep. Excuse me, thick. Um, because it was a great deal of pain. Now, mind you, I can tune the pain out to where I don't notice it. But when I get distracted, oops, there that pain goes again. And it was more than excruciating. Now, this is the thing. I do want to talk to y'all for a second. Because I had a lot of people trying to suggest what they thought was wrong. And they were wrong. They were suggesting all kinds of stuff. Whew. Diabetes, cancer. Okay. I'm grateful that it was none of those things. Now, mind you, there are people out there who are going through diabetes, cancer, being disabled as a result of a limb missing, or individuals who are in constant pain all day long. So I'm not the only person on this planet who has something that he has to deal with, which is the reason for this particular video. I'm sorry, I was getting rid of a program that I don't need anymore, don't use, so that's what that was. But back to you all. We live in a very interesting time in a very interesting world. And I was sitting up thinking one day about the people who literally don't believe in a God. Now, they're not atheists. They're not individuals who believe in evolution. Now, wait, hold on now. For those of you who do believe in evolution, there is nothing in existence that says evolution is not a fact. Evolution is most certainly a fact. Things do evolve. We have that for a reason. Now, hold on now. All of their theories, and they were theories, you know how they talked about the Neanderthal man? We all came from Neanderthal man? Well, go do your research and see what the new scientific findings are regarding the Neanderthal man. The Neanderthal man didn't originate from Africa. Say what? But all civilization originated from Africa. That's right. Neanderthal man is a subspecies. It wasn't part of the generational gap. It was a subspecies. Something that happened later. Not associated with Africa or Africans. Don't believe me? Go do your research. Not for controversy. Go do your research. Ask for facts. So I'm not saying that evolution never happened. No. I'm saying the way they are describing evolution, that never happened. Let's talk about the Bible for a second. And we're going to do this because it's necessary. We're going to go to Genesis. Y'all don't mind if I go to Genesis? We can go to Genesis, the first chapter. So, I don't want that. I want Genesis, the first chapter. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. No matter what Bible you go to, it'll say that. In the book of Genesis, the very first verse. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That is a statement. Hold on now. Pay attention. The heavens, meaning the universe, and the earth. The earth is a part of the universe. So in the beginning, God created that. 17 billion years ago. Scientists have mapped it out. 17 billion years. Okay, so that existed 17 billion years. So you have these individuals who call themselves creationists. They believe that the earth was created in 7 days. Now I'm laughing because right here, he tells you a first day, because he called the light day and he called the darkness night, and there came to be a first day. We know that the only reason why we have day and night is because of the rotation of the earth. So if you go back and pay attention, there was no rotation at the beginning. There was no day and night. He caused the earth to rotate so that now there is day and night. You don't believe me? And God said, let there be light. Well, the heavens was already there. All the stars are already there. He didn't just all of a sudden create light. He was speaking with respects the earth. How do we know this? Pay attention. Now the earth. He's not talking about the rest of the universe. He was focused on this planet. The rest of the universe has already been created. It's already there. Now he takes his attention and he focuses on the earth. This is billions of years later. Now shows that time has passed. Hold on. You don't believe me? Well, let's do this. We're going to go to the King James. A lot of people like the King James Version. They swear by it, so to speak. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form. And is a conjunction. And the earth. And the earth. Conjunction. Shows that there is a difference. Time was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Just that simple. And God's Spirit, His Holy Spirit, moved upon the face of the waters. Okay, so we say the same thing. Yay! And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Ta-da! Same thing. But then we have those who say, well, the Bible has been, the translations and they have mixed it up and changed things and altered things. And yes, they have. Quite a bit. I mean, literally, quite a bit. They have, sorry, there was a fly and he's been getting on my nerves. And so I had to give him some perfume so that he could smell better for the rest of the day or for the rest of his life. Yes. He's a pest. He's been pesting me, and I gave him something to put him to sleep so that he'll go to sleep peacefully. He might do a little dance before he goes to sleep, but he's going to go to sleep. You know what I mean? All right. Why? Because that's the thing. Our world is not the way it's supposed to be. Now, yes, there have been a lot of translations of the Bible. Let me show you. This right here has, what is it, 8? Well, no. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 7. 7 different translations, and these 3 right here, the New World Translation, Study Bible, and the Reference Bible, they're all translations associated with the same version of the Bible. Okay? Now, this is a reference Bible. It's a study Bible like this one, but this is a research Bible. This is a translation that was done 1984, and this one was done 2013. This was the 1984 reference Bible. So 1984, 2013, 2024. Okay. But the rest of these, 1972, 1901, 1897, and 1611. Why? So individuals can compare the different versions and see what it actually said. Then you'll know what was added and what was taken away. Ta-da! Because there's a lot of people out there who have lost a lot of faith in the Bible. Now, that's not the reason I'm doing this video. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I've met quite a few people who, it's not that they don't have respect for the Bible, they don't have reverence for the Bible. What do you mean reverence? They don't have the appreciation for it. Why? Because society, television, and individuals, humans, we humans, I'm including myself in that, have ruined individuals' perspective of the Bible by our conduct. We are imperfect. We do imperfect things. I was watching a TikTok video, and I need you all to understand there was a woman who was arrested. And there's a sheriff in one of these stupid states, and I said it, stupid states, who was giving his opinion of her because this woman was taking drugs. And she bought drugs the day before, took the drugs, and was on her way to church the following morning. And she collapsed and died. Not divine retribution. That's because he doesn't do that type of stuff. But pay attention. The sheriff said that he couldn't understand how a person can claim to be a person of God and be on their way to church while just having taken drugs. I don't make excuses for the young lady, but what if we all recognized that she had an addiction. What if she was trying to fight that addiction? What if she was doing the best she could? How dare any of us judge her? Not one single one of us is perfect. Look, the God that I serve had to chop my legs off because I was standing tall. Everybody knew me. I didn't make a mistake. Man, I broke my neck to follow this book to the letter. And I was proud of it. And he took that pride and he allowed me to go out there and make mistakes with that pride. And then allowed me to see my stupidity. And then he allowed me to correct portions of it. Now, I'm grateful for the correction. Both parts. The one where I was allowed to correct and where the one that he corrected me. Because if it wasn't for that, I would not be here. Now, what am I trying to say in a nutshell? Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to say is I feel for a lot of you who don't see the scriptures the same way you used to. I feel for a lot of you who don't believe in the scriptures, don't believe in any of that because you're watching stupid things going around you and you can't figure out why he's allowing this or why he's allowing that. I feel for you. You know what else I feel for? I feel for those people out there who, for the life of them, realize, man, God ain't real. He ain't done nothing to correct nothing. He's allowing all of this stuff to go on. Look at all them kids being killed in Israel and Palestine. Look at all those kids being killed in Ukraine and Russia. See, they always talk about the women and the children. Go ahead. Go watch the news. When they want you to choose a side, they'll talk about the women and children being killed. Oh, Russia has just bombed Ukraine and now they killed a bunch of women and children. But they don't talk about Ukraine bombing Russia and the women and children they're killing. Because they're trying to give you a narrative. Stop falling for it. Same thing with Israel. Israel says that it's paying Hamas back. Okay, you're paying them back. For what? Because of what they did on October 7th. For what they did on October 7th. Okay, no. Stop it, everyone. Let's say that is the case. If you're paying them back for what they did on October 7th, how come you've killed over 100,000 people so far? If you guys think it's only 50,000, 20,000, 100,000 people to, what did they say, 100? If that, dying when Hamas supposedly did whatever they're saying they did, that's disproportionate. And now all of these nations want to act like they care now. They want to make Palestine a state and all of that. Why? You just reduced them to not being a threat. That's why they bombed the place, ladies and gentlemen. So to take them tens of years to rebuild. Do you understand? That's why they're bombing Palestine. That's why they're destroying everything. That's why they destroyed the schools. Because they can affect the education of the generations to come. But the only problem is they're creating terrorists. Don't take my word for it. They know exactly what they're doing. And they think they can handle it. That's why Israel says it wants to occupy. But again, hold on now. God. Where is he while all of this stuff is going on? Hold on. I want to make sure you guys understand. Where was he during the flood when all of those people were dying and suffering? No. Where was he during the time of slavery where those people were being hung, beaten, stripped of their dignity? Where was he when you were going through your problems and your stress? No. I'm not talking about those of you who claim to have faith. I'm talking to those people whom it's been very difficult for. I'm not going to convince you that you need to have faith. No. You got to go talk to George Michaels about that. Well, I guess it wasn't right. Okay? Go talk to him about having faith. I'm not here to talk to you about that. I'm talking to those people who are finding it difficult because they can't see God. If he exists, then why is he allowing this? I'm talking to those people. I'm not going to convince you of anything. I'm just here to say I understand. When my best friend died, he was the first one I blamed. And who would blame me? Me. Now. Getting hit by a drunk driver on a crowded street. He doesn't hit any other car but that one. And the car flips and lands on his head. And he stays there for 25 minutes because it took, pay attention, the fire department and the sheriff 25 minutes to get to the scene. And they were parked right there at that corner because there was a fire station right there at that corner. And there was no reason for those firemen not to get to the scene of that accident because they were there. The sheriff were there. 25 minutes it took them to get to the scene. Then they took him to not one, not two, not three, but 4 different hospitals, one hospital twice. And he died 4 minutes after he gets to the final hospital? Where was my God then? No, don't get me wrong. I didn't lack faith in him. I knew he existed. I just asked him, why did he allow that to happen? Why did he allow me to go through that much pain? I've been through pain. I had blood clots throughout my entire body, especially in my kidneys. And if you've ever had blood clots in your kidney and your liver, then you know what I'm talking about pain. And I didn't have any pain relievers. That's how I learned how to tune the pain out. It's going through that experience regarding my comment at the very beginning of this. I've been through pain before, but losing my best friend, I'd not been through that kind of pain ever. Nobody could prepare me for it. I had no idea that such pain existed on this planet. So all of you who have lost a loved one, who have lost your best friend, your son, your daughter, your mother, your cousin, your sister, your niece, or somebody you were real close to, I don't understand exactly what you went through, but I understand a little of what you went through. Because I guarantee you, I don't think there's anyone on this planet who can understand what I went through. And that young man would not have ever have caused harm physically to anybody, would not have gone out of his way to hurt anybody. He had people who didn't like him because of his personality. He wasn't a mean guy at all. Went out of his way to help people, and yet people criticized him because they were jealous of him. I am grateful that he chose me as a friend. I am grateful that he told me the reason why he chose me as a friend. Because his father, when he met me 2 years before that, told him to keep me close, that I would be good for him. His father had only met me once. They invited me over for dinner. And I sat there and I talked to him and we had a conversation as a family. So, when the very next day after that young man tells me that I was his best friend, and I looked at him and say, but you're my best friend, and we made a pact, and he dies the next day, of course I'm going to blame my God, because I'm imperfect. And he allowed me. It took some time for me to realize that he allowed that to happen. I also understand about Palestine. I understand about Ukraine. I understand about COVID. All of those people who died during COVID for no reason whatsoever. Putting them on respirators. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to what I just said. Putting them on respirators. Let me show you something. And y'all will have to bear with me on this one, because I've never looked this up. Wake up. What is the difference between a respirator and a ventilator? Stop listening. Respirator and a ventilator are two very different devices, though both are associated with breathing. A respirator is a protective device worn externally, such as a N95 mask powered by an air purifying respirator. Its purpose is to filter harmful particles, gases, and infectious agents in the air from what you're actually breathing in. A ventilator, on the other hand, is a medical machine used in hospitals to support or fully take over breathing of patients. Now watch this. Wake up. During the COVID pandemic, there was a problem, comma, hospitals ran out of ventilators. Hospitals ran out of ventilators, comma, and so they allowed companies to manufacture ventilators. Period. How can a ventilator help a person breathe if all it's doing is pumping air and not oxygen into a person's body? Stop listening. A ventilator does more than just pump air. It delivers a controlled mixture of gases directly. Now watch this. It says a controlled mixture of gases. Wake up. You are incorrect. Comma, these companies that were producing ventilators, comma, weren't producing ventilators that introduced a controlled mixture of gases, comma, they did not make medical devices. They were making ventilation machines only. Stop listening. You guys remember those companies that were donating ventilators? Well, they weren't medical devices. They weren't gauged for medical devices. They weren't calibrated. They weren't tested. They were just producing ventilators, pumping air. They weren't pumping oxygen. Now look at how long he's taking to give the answer. We're going to let him take that time, since he wanted to sit up here and mouth off as if he knew the answer to the question. I'm sitting up there listening to the news reports of these companies that were producing ventilators that had never produced a ventilator before. What gave them the right to produce a ventilator? They were producing air production machines. Short answer, the high-profile ventilators built during COVID weren't just fans. GM, critical care ventilators, mass-produced with Ventec, was integral to oxygen blender and ports, blah, 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 blah. Now watch this. Wake up. You are a liar. Stop listening. During COVID emergency, the U.S. contracts with international government contracts explicitly required that devices manufactured by automakers like GM, Ford, and EeoN, GE, etc., be FDA cleared. Wake up. You stupid idiot. Comma, there was no time for FDA clearance because this was a pandemic emergency. So they waived all clearances, you stupid idiot. Stop listening. Correct. The COVID emergency, the FDA waived normal clearances. Wait a minute, hold on now. How do I know this? I didn't read no stupid reports. I was listening to the news like the rest of you. Because I know how government works. Normally, yeah, they got to go through all kind of testing and everything before they can be approved as a medical device. But please understand, they forwent all of those medical, quote-unquote, qualifications. So understand, it explicitly allowed ventilators not previously cleared or approved by the FDA to be used if they met the minimum safety standards and performance requirements because of the pandemic. Give me a second. Wake up. Thank you for proving that you lied. Comma, because you specifically are claiming that each one of these machines that were used during this emergency situation produced oxygen, when it is a known fact that many of them were just pumping air. Stop listening. It's going to have to think. So, why would man do that? To make people think they were doing something. Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think these individuals were catching pneumonia? Pneumonia is when bacteria and fluids build up in the lungs. The bacteria is because the fluids in the lungs. It's a moist place and you pump air in there and you just fester pneumonia. I know this because I've had pneumonia 7 times at least. And the one thing you don't do is just pump continuous air. Now you do have to breathe in and breathe out. They weren't doing that. They weren't clearing the lungs out. They were just pumping them with air. That's all that was happening. Look at how long it's taken for them to answer. Answered the last one pretty quickly. But this one, you're right about one key point. Most pandemic era devices did not produce oxygen. Ventilators move or meter gas. Oxygen comes from a wall outlet, a cylinder. Well, they didn't have enough oxygen tanks. Now watch this, because I knew that that's what it came from. Watch this. Wake up. You lied again. Comma. Hospitals didn't have enough oxygen, and they still put individuals on ventilators without oxygen. This was reported on throughout the news about the running out of oxygen, you stupid idiot. Stop listening. See, we're past COVID now. And that is factually correct. During COVID crisis, particularly in New York, Los Angeles, Brazil, India, and other hard-hit regions, hospitals reported 2 distinct shortages: ventilators and medical-grade oxygen supplies. So yes, many people were on ventilators, just pumping air into them. Ladies and gentlemen, I knew this without having to listen to the news, because all I did was listen to what they were reporting. And they didn't report all of this together. They reported this stuff separately. But I'm a puzzle putter together. I put pieces together. You give me something like this and I can put the pieces together. And I put this together at the very beginning. You got a relative or something they put on a ventilator and then shortly thereafter they died after getting pneumonia? Well, now you know why. If there's a God, why did he allow that to happen? If these were real people, why did they do this? They would have been better off if they had not put them on a ventilator and just let them breathe naturally, but they couldn't do that. They had to. I won't say it because that's not this video. All I know is what I know. Would you like for me to pull the primary news and medical bulletins of 2020 and 2021 documenting oxygen shortages and ventilators used without oxygen, so you have the record yourself? I don't need that. I already know it. I was watching the news. So why did God, if God exists, why did he allow that? Come on. Anybody? But those are all guesses. Every single answer you were trying to come up with is a guess. Let me give you the answer if you don't mind. I'm not going to give you the whole answer. I'm only going to give you part of the answer. And we're going to go to this one right here. We're going to go all the way to... I keep mixing these two up. I believe it is Hebrews. You know what? I believe it is Romans. But I mix it up because I keep doing it. I keep forgetting. And we're going to go 9. Nope, not Hebrews, it's Romans. Hey, that's me. That's what I do. I'm tired, and I really mean it. I am tired. I'm not exhausted tired, but I am tired. Because that takes a lot out of you. If you only knew, tuning out pain, that took most of the time of these last 3 weeks. I have the fire to worry about, to focus on, not getting enough sleep, and then in this type of pain, I had to take care of that. That took a lot out of me. So look, please understand. For I consider the present suffering, the suffering in the present time, do not amount to anything in comparison to the glory that is going to be revealed in those individuals who are chosen. For the creation is waiting for the eager expectation of the revealing of the sons of God. For creation was subjected, slavery, servitude, to futility. What is futility? And to Adam he said, because you listened to your wife's voice and ate from the tree concerning that which I gave this command, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground on your account, and in pain you will eat its produce all the days of your life, and it will grow thorns and thistles for you, and you must eat the vegetation of the field. In the sweat of your face you will eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, from dust you are, until dust you will return. We were subjected, along with the earth, to futility, to nothing, to something that is worthless. It's futile. It's not even worth trying to achieve. Everybody out there is trying to achieve something, trying to make their lives last longer, and they just don't get it. People are just now discovering that we've never been to the moon. They don't understand. He quarantined the earth. Don't take my word for it. That's why you hear all these people talking about the flat earth thing, because they're now starting to realize we've never been to the moon. They cannot discount the stars. They keep talking about this is a simulation. This is not a simulation. We can prove this is not a simulation, because we have all lost someone we loved. You cannot simulate love, no matter how much you want to, no matter how much you think you can. Love is not something that can be simulated. Go ahead. Those of you who've ever loved someone, those of you who ever lost a son, a mother, a sister, a brother, a cousin, a niece, a nephew, that's not a simulation. Sorry. No, go ahead and look at a simulation. A simulation, there's no emotion, there's no feelings in a simulation. You see flight simulators and all these other simulators. What is it? Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 is a simulator. Nobody feels somebody getting shot and killed in that simulation. Don't take my word for it. Go and pay attention to the word simulation. So this is most definitely not a simulation, because I just told you about the pain I went through. Physically, because of my health, and physically and emotionally because of my best friend dying. That's not a simulation. Now he says it was subjected to fertility, not by its own will. That means creation, the earth and the universe. There was a purpose. Not by its own will, but through the one who subjected it, on the basis of a hope. What hope? That the creation will be set free, eventually, from enslavement. Yes, subjection is slavery. When the courts make you subject yourself to its jurisdiction, they are subjecting you to slavery. Been saying it for a long time, but we have been subjected to enslavement, to corruption, imperfection, and eventually we will have, those of us who believe, freedom as children of God. Now, there will be two sets of children of God. There will be those who are the sons of God, as it mentions here. This is a biblical term, the sons of God. That's a biblical term. Just like there are legal terms, there are biblical terms. Go learn what that means if you'd like to know what it means. Go look it up. Okay, look, we know that all creation keeps on groaning together and being in pain together until now. Okay, we know that this happens. But let's go to the 9th chapter, because it's very important. He says, I am telling the truth in Christ. I am not lying, as my conscience bears witness with me in the Holy Spirit. He says, I have great grief and unceasing pain in my heart. Why? For I could wish that I myself were separated from the Christ, as the cursed one, for the sake of my brothers and my relatives according to the flesh. My brothers and sisters, natural brothers and sisters, fleshly brothers and sisters, who are Israelites, the group that he was born a part of. To them belong the adoption of sons and the glory of the covenant and the giving of the law and the sacred service and the promises. To them the forefathers belong, and from them the Christ descended according to the flesh. However, now we're going to add a nuance. Now we're going to change the subject. It is not as though the word of God has failed. Those of you who think he's not doing anything, where is he? For not all who descend from Israel are really Israel. Neither are all of they who are children, because they are Abraham's offspring. Rather, what will be called your offspring will be through Isaac. Abraham had many sons and daughters. Go back and look at Genesis. Everybody only focuses on the firstborn. Well, the firstborn was Ishmael. That was his firstborn. From where Islam is derived. They'll tell you that Islam came from Muhammad, but it didn't come from Muhammad. Okay? Islam came from Ishmael. Don't believe me? Do your research. Those of you who think you know something. There'll be a lot of people out there saying, that man don't know what he's talking about. Go do your research. The firstborn was the firstborn through Sarah, because he was actually married through Sarah. Hagar was his second wife, not the first. He and Sarah were already married when Hagar came along, so she was the second wife, not the first. So the firstborn would have to be through Sarah, even though Ishmael was born first. Pay attention. Rather, what will be your offspring will be through Isaac. That is, the children in the flesh are not really children of God, but the children of the promise are counted as the offspring. For the word of the promise was as follows, at this time next year, okay, at this time I will come and Sarah will have a son. Not only that, but when Rebekah conceived two twins from one man, Isaac, our forefather, for when they had not yet been born or had practiced anything bad or good, so that God's promise respecting the choosing might continue dependent not on works, but on the one who calls. For it is said to her, the older will be the slave of the younger, just as it is written, Jacob I love, but Esau I hated. Again, the question is, where is God? Why hasn't he done anything? If only you knew how much Jacob had to suffer during his life. Now remember, he loved Jacob, but Jacob had to suffer a lot. Even though Jacob had a lot of things, Jacob was a rich man, he still had to suffer a lot, lost a lot. And he says, Esau I hated, but Esau had everything. Esau was a king, had his own nation and everything. Don't believe me? Go do your research. It says, what are we to say then? Is there injustice with God? Certainly not. For he said to Moses, I will show mercy to whomever I will show mercy, and I will show compassion to whomever I will show compassion. So then, it depends not upon the person's desire or upon his efforts, but upon God who has mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, people keep asking, where is God? He's working out some other things in the background that you are not privy to. I know, it sounds like a good scapegoat, doesn't it? But please understand, if he does exist, who are you? No. You don't understand. If God does exist, and I said if, who are you to question whether or not he does exist or doesn't exist? If you knew whether or not God exists, then, and you can control whether or not he exists, I don't believe in God. Well, then you just made yourself God. You just said that your opinion is the only thing that counts. I'm sorry, but that's what that means. Look, for the scriptures say to Pharaoh, and for those of you who say you don't believe in God, I'm not here to convince you. For this reason, I have let you remain. The reason why he's allowing that stupid stuff to go on, he's allowing it. He's allowing it to go on. For this reason, I have let you remain. Look at what Pharaoh did. Enslaving a people and causing them that much pain and problems and sorrow and hatred. to show you my power and connection with you, and to have my name declared in all the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's about to happen. So then, he has mercy upon whomever he wishes, and he lets whomever he wishes become obstinate. He's allowing a lot of obstinacies to happen on this planet today. Why? You will therefore say to me, why does he still find fault if he's allowing all of this? For who can withstand his will if he's allowing this, and if he's causing this to happen? He's not causing it to happen, he's allowing it to happen. Big difference. So Paul says, who are you? Same thing I just asked. Who are you, O man or woman, to answer back to God? Does the thing made or molded say to its maker or molder, why did you make me this way? What? Does not the potter, the creator, have the authority over the clay? The craft that he is crafting to make from the same lump a vessel for an honorable use and another for a dishonorable use? Remember, he allows some to become obstinate, dishonorable, but he has mercy upon those whom he has for an honorable use. What then, if God had the will to demonstrate his wrath and to make his power known, he has tolerated with much patience vessels of wrath fit for destruction. Ladies and gentlemen, he is allowing certain things to happen because there are certain things going on in the background that you're not privy to. It's much more than the earth involved in, according to the Bible. There's much more than the earth involved in this. You don't remember? Well, let me show it to you. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The heavens are involved in this. I know it doesn't make sense to many of you. This is the last thing I'm going to share with you. Go to Revelation. We're going to go to the 12th chapter. And we're going to go around roughly verse number 9 so that you can get it, because most people won't understand it. Well, let's do 7 through 9. I apologize, I said number 9. 7 through 9. And war broke out in heaven. And Michael, who is the archangel, who is like God, is what the name means, and his angels battled the dragon. According to the Bible, well, we'll find out who the dragon is in a minute. And the dragon and its angels battled, and they did not prevail. Nor was a place found for them any longer in heaven. So down the great dragon, every time you see how to train your dragon, where do you think they get it from? Was hurled, the original serpent. A dragon is nothing but a snake with legs and wings. And because it was hurled to the earth, pay attention, because it was hurled to the earth, because it used to be in heaven and it had, pay attention, wings as an angel, that's where you get the dragon with the wings and the tail and the serpent. This is where it comes from. The original serpent, the one in Genesis, because he was going about the Garden of Eden. And in the book of Job, it asks, where did he come from? And he says, from roving about the earth and walking about through it. That's where you get it having legs. He is, in actuality, the one called devil. Devil is not a name. Devil means something. Okay? The term devil, it's a biblical term. Devil and Satan is a biblical term. It's not a name. Why do you think in law that you have legal terminology? Well, the same thing in the Bible. There's biblical terminology. Some people talk about it being symbols. It stands for something. Well, that's revelation. And it says this person who mimics and personifies the definition of devil and Satan, these are two legal terms or biblical terms, who is misleading the entire inhabited earth to believe that there is no God. He was hurled down to the earth and his angels were hurled down with him. That's why. There is more going on than just the earth. So it's not about you. It's not about your opinion, not about my opinion. It's not about what I believe. It's not about what you believe. But I understand why there's a lot of people out there who literally don't believe because they are not seeing evidence of something to believe in. I really honestly get it. It took me a moment. I promise you it took me a moment. It took me 25 years to get it. Because I couldn't understand why people couldn't grasp certain things. And about 8 months ago, I realized because of their experiences. They didn't experience the same 80s that I experienced, where everybody took the Bible seriously. I mean, it wasn't until the 80s that people started really discounting the Bible, thinking that it had no force, had no reality, was not to be reserved. When I grew up, you couldn't set a Bible on the floor. Okay, I promise you, you could not set a Bible on the floor. You could not throw it to the floor. You could not tear a page out of it. That stuff wasn't allowed. But today, man, you can do whatever you want to a Bible because nobody cares. Except for grandma. Because you know about grandma's hands, right? Okay, tear up a Bible and do that to a Bible in front of grandma and see if she don't put her hands on you. No, I'm just kidding. So, I understand a little. I don't understand everything, but I do understand. I don't know if people are going to take the time to understand that there's more going on than just this earth, that we are not the center of the universe, but we are, pay attention, the center of creation. Now, if you don't believe me, let me prove it to you. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. He didn't say heavens with an S. Now, hold on now. That's what you're going to find out right now. We went there, and now we're going to go to the King James. And Genesis, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Please understand, that's the universe. It's not the heavens where he lives. In the beginning, he created the heaven, the universe, and the earth. It says, when you go to the second chapter, let's go there real quick. At the very end of the first chapter, and God saw that everything he had made, and behold, it was very good, and there came to be evening and morning a sixth day. And the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And it was the seventh day. We're in the seventh day. We're still in the seventh day because each day was not 24 hours. Each day, according to the scriptures, a day to God is 1,000 years. Each day was thousands of years. The scriptures do not tell us exactly how long each was, but it wasn't, he snapped his fingers and there it was, like he's some genie or something. So, in a nutshell, again, I'm doing this video just to say that I do understand why some people have a difficult time believing. Don't agree with everything, but at least there's an understanding as to why, how we got here. And not to convince anybody to believe, that's not the point. Believing is something you have to do on your own. Nobody can give you faith. Okay? Nobody can give you faith. Faith is not something you can go and acquire just because you went out and you saw somebody on the street corner selling it. It has never worked that way. I can't give it to you. Oh, I can tell you how to get it, but that's not the purpose of this video. It's not my job either. All right, I just wanted to share that. Just wanted to say to those of you who stayed this long and you've gone through any of this, I understand a little. Just a little. Have a good day, everyone. Take care of yourselves, stay out of trouble, and have a little patience. It's not going to be much longer.